Hi and good morning, Jo here at Woolly Cottage. Welcome. It is the 21st of December. I was going to do a spinning video until I opened up, felting videos with days 20 and 21. But when I opened up yesterday's, I was like, oh, I have to spin this. And it is, hold on a sec, I'll just grab my bag. Fawn, alpaca and tussar silk. Now, I could felt them and it would make a really lovely project, but you would have to do something like slippers or mittens or something. But I'm already doing felted mittens. I've been practicing a style and making sure I get my measurements all right before I release that video. And I'll be doing that, as I said the other day, with my 100-gram Christmas Day bat. But oh my lord, now if you've never spun with alpaca before, you're missing an absolute delight to spin with. If you're looking for a fibre that really wants to spin in a lovely lace weight single yarn, this is your go-to. A lot of people, I find that when I blend with it on my bats, they don't sell that much. And honest to goodness, once it's been mixed through, because it is quite a silky, slippery type of fibre, so it can be a bit hard to spin with if you're a beginner or not very experienced with spinning with this type of fibre. But there's different ways that you can spin with it. But I like it when I've blended it through with my wool fibres and my art bats, and it calms it right down, but it just gives your wool an extra sense of silkiness in with the fibres. And I'll add it with anything, me. I'll add it with Shetland just to give it a softer feel on your Shetland art bats. I like to add it with my other softer wools like the BFL, and that makes it super, super soft. Makes the most glorious hand knitted items, and it has the gorgeous drape when it's been added in as well. Because I mean, look at it, it just wants to flop around everywhere. So you can see I've got this bright light on. I do apologise, I'll just sort of bend that back a bit. You can see the fawn actually starting to come out on there. And I've dyed this one I've got has got magnolia in there. It's got hints of violet. It's got lots of the natural popping through, because I do feel it's important when you get my advents, especially with the fibres like these, I want you to actually experience what it looks like in its natural form, as well as having a little bit of colour as well. And it just gives it such a pretty sensation when you're spinning with it. You're not getting one solid colour all the way through. You could dye it as a solid fibre, but I just think it looks so much prettier when you've got these natural undertones. And even in the fawn alpaca itself, it's got these, it's like different hues of cream that are in there. If you actually have a look at it, you've got darker sandy creams in there and very soft ivory type colours. But it's absolutely gorgeous. It's another that's on my top 10. I'll have to do a top 10 video one day, won't I, of all my fibres that I love to spin with and why I like to spin with them. I might do that in the new year. So yeah, you've got that little bubble of fuchsia in there. It is just absolutely gorgeous. So I couldn't resist it. You're probably waiting for a felting video, and I promise I will do at least one more felting video before I do Christmas days. But I just wanted to do this, and I haven't done you a story neither for a good couple of days. So I do have a really good one, and I was going to save it for St Distaff's Day for January, but it's great. It's just a short story, an anecdote. And it's a folklore story, so I will be looking that up and print it off so I can read it out to you in a bit. So yeah, I'm going to spin it. I'm going to watch a bit of my YouTube, catch up with a couple of my channels that I like to watch, and I'm going to spin this. Now we're upstairs in the studio because I tell you, it is so dark and overcast outside. My living room looks like a cave. I don't think my living room has seen daylight since September. So we're upstairs in the studio, and we're going to sit and do some of this. My dog's sulking. She's down there on her feet because she wants up here on the chair. She's been told no. So I'm going to get on with this, and I will see you on the other side. I hope you really enjoy spinning or felting this fibre. So I thought I'd just stop this video a minute while I just explain. I'm going to spin this in two different ways. Now the fibre on the alpaca is actually quite a long fibre, but because it's alpaca, it doesn't have any crimp because it's more of a hair, sorry, I've lost my breath then. It's more of a hair fibre than it is a wool fibre. If you follow me, there's no crimp in there, and the follicles on the actual fibre itself is practically non-existent. Well, say non-existent. There isn't enough follicles on the hair fibre for it to adhere to each other. So when you're spinning it, either worsted or long draw, you want to add in an extra twist, at least in your treadling. So usually when I'm spinning and I'm treadling to get a perfect, for me, a perfect yarn balance, I treadle about 5, maybe 6 times, depending. It's usually 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then 6 as I'm going in. But for this, I would advise, because it's such a shiny, soft hair that it won't stick to each other, I would go for maybe the 7. So do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then as you go back in, 7 on a treadle, and that'll just give it a little bit of extra twist to hold it in. So when you are plying it against itself or with something else, the fibres have got enough twist in there to stay together. Now, as a single, it will felt. You can do the hot and cold, the cold and hot shock like you would do with a wool fibre to create a single yarn. So it's going to be a good quality yarn to spin with. I personally would ply this up. I don't think I would be confident enough in my own skills to actually knit with this in this fibre as a single. So at the moment I'm just spinning it in a worsted because the fibres aren't crossed over. They are a worsted style. They are going straight back and forth. There's no crossing over. But then I'm going halfway down it. I'll stop the video again and I will show you spinning from the fold, which is a really good technique with fibres like these for spinning with, especially on their own. I wouldn't bother doing spinning on the fold if my art bat had quite a lot of the alpaca or llama fibres, or angora even as well, in my art bats. I would just spin them as off, because there's going to be wool fibres mixed in with those that are going to help hold it in place. So I would do a normal 5 to 6 treadles as a fibre, but on its own, just stick in an extra treadle in when you're spinning it. So I'll get back to doing what I'm doing. The story of Frau Pachata, the terrifying Christmas witch. Frau Pachata isn't well known as Krampus these days, which is a shame, because the Christmas time goddess, witch and all-round terrifying gal, deserves a lot more press. She's a staple in the Alpine regions of southern Germany and Austria, but relatively under the radar in North America. Frau Pachata was also known as Bertha or Bertha, and has also been called the Spinnstubenfrau, or the spinning room lady. She's often depicted with a beak nose made of iron, dressed in rags, perhaps carrying a cane, and generally resembles a decrepit old crone. But this old crone packs a mighty wallop and carries a long knife hidden under her skirt. She also bears the resemblance to the Scandinavian goddess Frigga, and both of them share one obsession in common: spinning specifically, and domestic neatness generally. Frankly, she's pretty judgy about the state of your home for a woman whose dresses are all in rags. Legend has it that you better get all your flax spun by the 12th night, or January the 6th, for when Christmas season was over and it would be time to set up the big upright loom, at which time you must have enough thread to warp it and start your weaving. And what's Frau Pachata's punishment for those lazy ladies who haven't finished all their weaving? In Germany, Austria and Switzerland, there are numerous tales of Frau Pachata trampling and even setting fire to the half-spun fibres. And if you should really irritate her, like say not only is your flax not spun but your house is a total mess, this domestic goddess and witch hates a messy house, and you've even failed to leave out her traditional bowl of porridge, well, her rampaging will extend far beyond your slovenly spinning room. She'll do nothing less than steal into your bedroom, disembowel you, and replace your guts with straw and rocks. But Pachata does more than just check upon the spinning. Her other legends equate to Frau Pachata with the legends of the Wild Hunt, and say that she flies through the night attended by an army of lost souls, including the demonic-looking Pachetin, her army of servants who are visually nearly indistinguishable from Krampus. The only other way to know for sure is context. Krampus rides abroad on St. Nicholas Eve, while Pachetten tend more towards Epiphany and the last 3 Thursdays before Christmas, also known as Bachattel nights or knocking nights. Among her army are the souls of unbaptized children. Legend has it if you hear the wind and the thunder roaring and rumbling through the mountains on Pachattel nights, you're really hearing the sounds of Pachatta leading the wild hunt. Another one of Frau Pachatta's names is Hol, a winter goddess who bears the naming means shining or bright, hence her association with Epiphany, the shining night on which the star of Bethlehem shone down. Her dual nature is expressed in the fact that there are both evil or ugly Pachetten and pretty Pachetten, most of whom you might find in a typical Pachetten life or Pachetten run in the alpine regions of Europe. The pretty Pachetten are all well and good, but honestly, I'm a bigger fan of the evil Pachetta, and she's one of the ones I love to fear in these days leading up to Christmas. With every passing moment, my anxiety mounts as I try to finish off, if not at all my spinning, all my housework and cleaning in time for Christmas season. As I sweep and mop and clean and dust, I visualise the old crone sneaking into my kitchen late at night, running her withered claw-like fingers over the baseboards and the tops of the cupboards checking for dust. She creeps through the house like a mad Martha Stewart crossed with the Grinch who stole Christmas, and if I should fail in my housekeeping, well, let's just say it really motivates me to pick up around the place. So this January 6th, instead of bemoaning that the fact of Christmas is over, why not celebrate Pachantan Tag by telling your kids they better clean up their rooms or Frau Pachatta will come and disembowel them in the night. Kids just love that sort of thing. Happy holidays and may Frau Pachatta smile upon you. Okay, so I've spun that off. Now the best thing about doing it in the straightforward worsted direction, especially when the wool's been dyed and you've got different patches of colours, is you're going to get a consistent colour change all the way through. Now, excuse me, when you fold it over like that and you've got these dyed patches, you're going to have a mixed colour variant and they're going to matrix into a different colour tone. So you're not going to have a like this here where you've got the colour, you see there? You've got the colour changes as I've gone through. So you've got continuation of colour fibres and changes within that. But when you're doing it on the fold and your wool's all different colours, you are going to get more of a mild effect where you've got different hints and tips of colours all going through in the same little sections. You're not going to have any solid colour change throughout. So that's the only difference. If you want to avoid, if you don't want to have or you don't mind not having these colour changes, specific colour areas, and you want to spin this on the fold, then this is perfect, and it'll end up with the fibres crossing over as well, which will help grip the fibres together. And that's why a lot of people prefer to spin alpaca and llama and fibres like that, cashmere even, on the fold, because it helps keep the fibres slightly knotted is what will end up happening. So I'm gonna just get this going, and so I'll try and move it a little bit so you can see what I'm doing. So I am right-handed. Sometimes I seem to spin left-handed. Don't ask me how. I have more control with my left hand sometimes. And I literally just pinch. Can you see what I'm doing there? So I'm literally just pinching from the fold of the fibre. Just put my finger back in there again. And just keep going from the fold, like that. And you're just spinning exactly the same as what you were doing when you were spinning in a worsted or a long English draw. And it actually gives you a bit more control over the fibres as well. And again, I'm still doing the 6 to 7 treadle. So I'll count it in a second, because you can't quite see my knee. Oh, you can see my knee. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and on the way back I've already pedalled 7 and 8. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. 1, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. And I find that gives me more than enough twist in that without it over twisting. There we go. So I just keep on spinning like that. And as the fibres are coming together, they're folding in on each other, which is helping with the grip. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm back on the 7. 1, 2. It's probably 7, 8. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Yeah. So 7 and 8. So you get into your own rhythm anyway. You get to a point you don't even need to count anymore. So as I'm pulling from the top, the fibres here are crossing over on each other. So that's what's helping me with a bit more grip. And you'll probably find what you're doing is actually trapping a little bit of air in with those fibres. So it'll bloom a little bit differently from the rest of my yarn when I set it later on. Not dramatically so, because it's not a wool, but you are spinning it effectively in a woolen effect. And you don't have as much control over your consistency, as in constant thin fibre, if that's what you're trying to do. You will find some pieces want to come out a little bit more. It's just a matter of teasing it. So I'm getting to this section now. It's really pulling, so I'm just trying to fan that a little bit out a bit more. But as I say, when you're using my art bats and they've got alpaca or llama in there, or sometimes cashmere, I do get cashmere in once in a blue moon for a really luxury blend. It's so expensive to buy that I don't get it in often, because that just increases the price of my art bat. But yeah, when it's crossed with the wool fibres, you don't have that sensation that the fibres want to run away from you. But doing it like this just gives you a little bit more control, especially as a beginner. Just spin it from the fold. So my fibres have all split now because I've taken that fold section away. So I'm going to do it again, fold it over my finger like that, tease out some little strands of fibres. Okay, I'm just going to move my my guide back a notch and right angle in, as you would do, join it onto the fibre you were just spinning with, and spin away. So I'm going to carry on doing this, and I'll stick some music on for you, and I'll see you in a bit. There we go. Isn't it pretty? You've got all these blues and pinks going on inside there. So I'll just take it off my niddy noddy. Plonk it over there. Look at the drape on that. Just the slightest little coil, which is what you expect anyway. And all I need to do is steam set that. Yeah, really, really nice. So, worsted when you're spinning a wool like this, or a fibre like this, that doesn't have any crimp in it and doesn't have any natural response to adhering to each other. So you're thinking cashmere, angora, maybe even if you're using your dog fur, a lot of people do it. You want to, I think the best option, if it's been spun on its own without being blended into an art bat and spun with blended with wool fibres, spin it in the fold. But it is possible. That's not to say it's not possible to spin it as a worsted yarn, because it is, because you're there and you're being really quite careful, and you've got a hold of that shiny fibre anyway. But it is absolutely gorgeous. Imagine what it would be like to wear a lovely lacy knitted summer top in this. And it gives the same sort of feel and effect when they come in my art bats as well. So if you ever see my art bats and they say angora or alpaca in there, don't go, oh I love the colours, but it's got that stuff in it. Please try it. It's definitely worth it. So there we go. A lovely little skein. And I forgot to say, where's Teeswater today, 21. Now, I've had to go rolling through my stash because you guys have got all the colours that I dyed up for the Christmas Advents. But I've got some Teeswater here. And they're really, really, really nice. Very similar to Wensleydale. Yeah, I can't find any long locks in this today. I must have the neck area of the fibres. But generally, my Teeswaters are the long locks, extra long. And they are roughly between 28 and 32 centimetres in length. So that is Advents 20 and 21 done and dusted. I have only got 22, 23 and 24 to do, and then Christmas Day. So I'm off. It's chilly. I need to go and light the fire, and I've got some housework to do. How come you've always got housework to do when you've got no work to do? I might actually add a couple of little extra bats in if I'm feeling fibrous, because I haven't actually blended any art bats for over a week, which is so not like me. I had a friend yesterday saying, oh, you'll be getting withdrawal symptoms. Honestly, I'm not. I'm actually enjoying just fart-arsing around and just doing nothing but stuff. And I've started taking up drawing again, which I haven't done for 20 odd years, but I had to be. I've been through so much in the last 20 odd years, in many different levels, that I always said that I have to be in a good place mentally to be able to feel like I want to be creative on my personal journey again. So yeah, taking back up graphite drawings and watercolouring again. So I've got to get this muscle memory used to holding pencils and drawing in the same way that I used to be able to draw. I used to be very talented. So anyway, I'm off. Stop bragging, Joe. Yeah, so 22 and 23 I will definitely do a felting video using those fibres, and I will do them both together. So you're talking Thursday, then Friday, Christmas Eve. Phil's going to do your Christmas story on Friday, so I'll be doing spinning. Phil will be doing his Christmas voiceover over the top of it. I do apologise in advance. Oh, bless him. Bless his cotton socks. So yeah, Phil wants to do it. So Hilly is going to do you a happy ending Christmas story. We'll go and find you one. Even if I have to go and rootle out a Ladybird book. Right, so I'm off. Take care of yourselves. Have a lovely couple of days. Reach out to me on Facebook if you want to. And my website's still open. I'm still posting out orders up until Christmas Eve. And I will be posting out orders as soon as my post office opens up, which I think is Tuesday next week. So yeah, and don't forget, every order between now and New Year's Eve gets either a £5 or a £10 voucher added into your order, and you can use that in the new year. So I'm off again for about the 4th time. Take care of yourselves. Bye bye.